I'm here to enlist you in helping reshape the story about how humans and other critters get things done. Here's the old story. We've already heard a little bit about it. Biology is war, in which only the fiercest survive. Businesses and nations succeed only by defeating, destroying, and dominating competition. Politics is about your side winning at all costs. But I think we can see the very beginnings of a new story beginning to emerge. It's a narrative spread across a number of different disciplines in which cooperation, collective action, and complex interdependencies play a more important role, and the central, but not all-important role of competition and survival of the fittest shrinks just a little bit. If you look back, human communication media and the ways in which we organize socially have been co-evolving for quite a long time. But at some point, they banded together to hunt bigger game. And we don't know exactly how they did this, although they must have solved some collective action problems. It only makes sense that you can't hunt mastodons while you're fighting with the other groups. And again, we have no way of knowing, but it's clear that a new form of wealth must have emerged. More protein than the hunter's family could eat before it rotted. So that raised a social question that I believe must have driven new social forms. Did the people who ate that mastodon meat owe something to the hunters and their families? And if so, how do they make arrangements? Again, we can't know, but we can be pretty sure that some form of symbolic communication must have been involved. With agriculture came the first big civilizations, the first cities built of mud and brick, the first empires. And it was the administrators of these empires who began hiring people to keep track of the wheat and sheep and wine that was owed and the taxes that was owed on them by making marks on clay in that time. And not too much longer after that, the alphabet was invented. And this powerful tool was really reserved for thousands of years for the elite administrators who kept track of accounts for the empires. And then another communication technology enabled new media. The printing press came along, and within decades, millions of people became literate. And from literate populations, new forms of collective action emerged in the spheres of knowledge, religion, and politics. We saw scientific revolutions, the Protestant Reformation, constitutional democracies possible where they had not been possible before. Not created by the printing press, but enabled by the collective action that emerges from literacy. Now, of course, the enabling technologies are based on the internet. And in the many-to-many era, every desktop is now a printing press, a broadcasting station, a community, or a marketplace. In biology, the notions of symbiosis, group selection, evolutionary psychology are contested, to be sure. But there is really no longer any major debate over the fact that cooperative arrangements have moved from a peripheral role to a central role in biology, from the level of the cell to the level of the ecology. I don't think we know enough yet. I don't think we've even begun to discover what the basic principles are, but I think we can begin to think about them. And I don't have enough time to talk about all of them, but think about self-interest. This is all about self-interest that adds up to more. In El Salvador, both sides that withdrew from their civil war took moves that have been proven to mirror a prisoner's dilemma strategy. In the US, in the Philippines, in Kenya, around the world, citizens have self-organized political protests and get-out-the-vote campaigns using mobile devices and SMS. Is an Apollo project of cooperation possible, a transdisciplinary study of cooperation? I believe that the payoff would be very big. What forms of suffering could be alleviated? What forms of wealth could be created if we knew a little bit more about cooperation? I don't think that this transdisciplinary discourse is automatically going to happen. It's going to require effort. So I enlist you to help me get the cooperation project started. Thank you.